Just pull out there, I'll run over you. Oh, sorry. That was a young Rick Fairless. Got Biggin here with me on the Janis Joplin bike.
This one's for Pearl.
This one's for Pearl, so I'm going to go for a ride. If Biggin can't go.
Poor old Biggin, I've got too many kids.
Work duty and kid duty, so Biggin ain't going. So it's an S&S Shovelhead, rigid frame, Paco Springer, Paco frame. I'm going to take it for a little ride and kind of show you around town a little bit.
Get ready to go, boy.
You going with me, Rock?
Yeah. You got to get on your chopper, though.
Y'all come with me, you can go for a ride. Biggin can't go, you can go. Okay, let's go for a ride, y'all. Where's Biggin? Hi, Biggin. Okay, so it's a beautiful January day here in Dallas, Texas. I don't know where I'm going, but I'm going to go, and I'll take you with me. So Harry Hines, the name of the street I'm on, he was the like the highway commissioner for the state of Texas. And back in the 40s and 50s and even into the 60s, Harry Hines Boulevard was a major thoroughfare through Dallas. I think they also called it maybe Highway 77. You know, that was Jim Jeffcoat's number. He was number 77. What did that have to do with anything? Nothing, but you want to know what goes on in my mind, that's it. Well, I might not want to know what goes on in it. Well, that's it anyway. Okay, so Harry Hines runs all the way through to downtown. We'll just kind of take a little cruise. We'll cut over somewhere in here. Remember, I'm on a hardtail. Yo! Hello, hardtail. I wish this road had calmed down a little bit. I'm 64, you know. When I'm 64. I saw a friend of mine today named Charles Bush. And Charles owns several bars in airports. I think he has, and he's always kind of buying and selling, but that's his business. And he has, hey, UT Southwestern. He has a couple at DFW, I think, and a couple at Love Field. And he and I have done a lot of business over the years, but mainly we're just pals, we're just friends. And I hadn't even thought about how this COVID has affected him, but we were eating breakfast and he was telling me that his business is down 85%, and which is just, yeah, I mean, if you think about it, his businesses are in airports. Well, airports have been virtually shut down for months. I mean, I know, you know, I asked him, I said, well, aren't people starting to come back and all that? He said, in spurts, you know, so it's just, think about how busy airports are anytime, all the time. Well, now take this COVID in and you'll see what it's doing to, you know, we know what it's doing to airlines. It's crippling the airlines and all the other businesses that work with the airlines, it's crippling them too. Including Stroker's Ice House, you know, because my biggest customer for 25 years has been Southwest Airlines because they're right there, you know, right there around the corner from me. Well, guess what? They're working from home. You know, they're like 80% working from home. So they're not there to get off work and to come in and drink a cold beer and have a hamburger with old man Fairless. They're not there. You know, so it's kind of tough. Butler Street, my aunt used to own a bar on Butler Street called MD's. My mom used to work there. y'all see that picture I posted a while back of my mom bartending at the Black Hawk? Probably in her late 30s. I mean, she was the best of the best of the best. Hi, pal. You didn't mess with mama. I remember the kids at school used to tease me, you know, because my mom was only 16 years older than me. And she'd drop me off and I'd be 8 or 10 and they'd say, man, your mother's pretty. And I'd say, don't say that. Don't say that about my mother. Dang, she's pretty. Can we spend the night at your house? Nope. Them heathens. Harry Hines now is pretty famous for all these hospitals. UT Southwestern and all that, which the UT stands for University of Texas Southwestern Medical Center, which is a great hospital, and that's where I go to get treatments, and it's huge. It's also Parkland Hospital. Parkland is where they took Kennedy when he got shot. 1963. What's all this mess? I don't like the traffic jams. There's a copper up there. I love the cops. Here's a Rick Fairless factoid, and the crowd goes wild. When I was a kid, say I'm 9, you know, back then all the old men, you know, my age or younger, would say, what are you gonna do when you grow up, son? And I'd say, I want to be a Dallas policeman. And one time my dad said, son, you mean you want to be an Irving policeman? You know, because as you know, I'm born and raised and still live in Irving. And I said, no, sir, I want to be a Dallas policeman. And he'd say, no, Irving's a little town, which it was back then, and Dallas is the big city. He said, all the bad stuff happens over there in Dallas. You don't want no part of that. And I said, yes, sir, that's why I want to be a policeman in Dallas. I want to help catch those crooks and put them in jail. So that was my first thing I wanted to be, was a Dallas cop. Before that, I think I wanted to be a cowboy, not a Dallas cowboy, a cowboy. Shoot 'em up, rootin' tootin' cowboy. And then after that, I wanted to be a Dallas cowboy. Then when I figured out I was 5'10" and skinny, then I figured out maybe I could be a Dallas cop. And I don't know which way they're going, but I'm going the other way. I'm gonna go straight, I think. Let me guess, I'm in the right turn lane. You son of a... I'll go down here and get on Inwood if I don't get killed first. There used to be a Mexican joint right here that me and my wife loved. And it's still there, J. Pepe's. We hadn't been there in a while. So I'm on Stemmons Freeway, which is Interstate 35 at Inwood. And in a minute over here, it crosses over the river and goes into Oak Cliff, which is actually where I was born. It's Dallas. Oak Cliff is Dallas, but it's the Oak Cliff section of Dallas. There was no hospital in Irving when I was born in 1956. So we had to go to Dallas to be born, so I was born in Methodist Hospital. And then 11 months later, my brother was born in what was then called Florence Nightingale Hospital. Now it's called Baylor Downtown. I asked my mom, how come I was born in Methodist Hospital? She said, well, that was the, I forget what the word was. That was the free hospital back then when you didn't have no money. Well, how come 11 months later, Rand had to go to Baylor? She said, because I got some insurance by then. I said, oh, okay. So I was born in the free hospital, and he was born in the pay hospital. Maybe that's why he's a big shot attorney, and I'm a broke motorcycle salesman. Trinity River runs all through Texas. I think it runs outside of Texas, but it's big in Texas, in Dallas. And we're going to go right over the top of it. I guess we're going right into the sun. There's a dam. This is all overflow right there. So they're going to make a park out of it. Hey, look at downtown. I know you probably can't see it, but it sure is pretty. There's them new bridges over there. We might go over there by one of them new bridges, maybe. I don't know. So when me and my brother were, I'd say 4 or 5. I was 4, he was 5. Nope, I was 5, he was 4. We lived in government subsidized apartments, or maybe they call them Section 8, I don't know. We called it the projects. So it was just me and my mom and my brother. So let's see, if I was 5, my mother was 21 with a 5-year-old and a 4-year-old. Can you imagine that? And our biological dad was not around. He kind of went and did his own thing. So my mother was working like 2 or 3 jobs, and she had a lady that took care of us during the day, and I think my grandma took care of us at night. And right up here was the projects, and what I remember about it was there weren't many whites in the projects, but we were. And I remember that, you know, it was just row after row after row of buildings, and there wasn't grass in between the buildings, it was dirt. And so we used to play marbles. So it called, I forget what it was called, keepers or something. So you'd make a circle like that, you'd put the marbles in, and then you kept your favorite one, and you would shoot it like that, and whatever marbles you could knock out, you kept. And then so whenever you'd shoot it and you couldn't knock one out, you had to put yours back in, and it was the next guy's turn. But all of this through here and back there was the projects. Both sides of the street. They finally tore it down, I don't know, years ago. I remember probably maybe 25 years ago, me and my brother were riding around on a couple of bikes, and he stopped at the projects, and we're just kind of sitting there looking, and there was, you know, some kids playing basketball, and we were probably, I don't know, in our 30s, and these kids were teenagers. And my brother said, my brother's a damn good basketball player. Whatever he does, he's damn good, but he's a damn good basketball player. And he said, hey, you want to stop and go up and talk to them and maybe shoot a few hoops with them? And I said, no, I don't. So I'd rather ride my motorcycle. I don't want to die. I just want to ride my motorcycle. I don't want to pickle. I just want to ride my motorcycle. There ain't many things I'd rather do than ride my motorcycle. I've never been in one of them Aldi food stores. Don't reckon I'll ever go in one either. I don't know nothing about them. I don't like going places I don't know nothing about. That's why I go to the same 2 places every day. Stroker's Ice House and Stroker's Dallas. Oh, 3 places, Punchwalla Garage. Oh, 4 places, Fearless Insurance. Oh, 5 places, Big State. And make it 4. So, cat's out of the bag. You know, Big State Fountain Grill in Irving, Texas used to be Big State Drug, and it was the Irving Drug Store. So, it opened in 1948. Well, and it was like the drugstore in Irving, Texas, and it was on the corner of Main Street and Irving Boulevard, which back then was called First Street. So back then, Irving High School used to be right behind it. So my dad said all the kids used to hang out there after school. And I said, y'all hung out at the drugstore? And he said, yep. And I said, why? And he said, because we'd get us a patty melt, we'd get us a milkshake, and we'd all stand out on the corner, and that was the main drag, you know, Irving Boulevard or First Street back then, and Main Street. So all the kids used to run up and down the main drag there in their cars, and so that was the hangout spot, you know, to see and be seen. And then I know my mother-in-law Betty used to go there, as did her parents. And my grandma used to take me and my brother there. She would get her prescriptions and would say, we called her Memo, Memo, can we get a milkshake? Can we get a milkshake? Yes, I'll get you a milkshake. Just be quiet. You know, we're 7 and 8. And we'd say, can we get 2 milkshakes? Can we? She'd say, no. She'd get 1 milkshake. She'd split it in 2 glasses. So we started saying, oh no, Memo, he wants chocolate, I want vanilla. So she'd get 2. No. She just took turns. We just got 1. So that was in 48 when it opened. Well, it went out of business in 2014. So when it did, we got sad, and we were in there eating, and they were telling us that they were shutting it down. And I told Sue, honey, we ought to buy this place. And I knew for a fact she was going to say, no, are you kidding? But she didn't. She said, well, why don't you check into it? I knew I had her right there. I knew I had her. So we checked into it and wound up buying it. And we spent a ton of money remodeling it, because when I took it over, it was an empty building. The previous owner had taken everything out of it, and it was an empty building. So we gutted the empty building, pulled up the floors, we added new plumbing and new grease traps and everything in there. Everything was new electricity, everything. And spent a ton of money. We spent 3 times what we had thought we were going to spend. But we bought it with our heart and not our head. So we had it for 6.5 years, and you know, to keep the history alive. And then I was approached by a friend of mine, and actually I was approached by several people during those 6 years about selling it, and I was not interested in selling it. And during the COVID, it made me realize that I make my livelihood at Strokers, you know, and motorcycles are my passion, and that's what I love. And the bar and grill, you know, that's what we do. And so I was approached by some more people, and David Cole, who along with his family, his brothers, own E. Fratelli's Pizza, which is the best pizza you'll ever have, came to me about buying it. Well, David Cole is an Irving guy. His family are Irving people. He still lives in Irving. He graduated from one of the Irving high schools. I don't even remember which one. MacArthur, I think. And I talked to my brother, my attorney, my best friend, and he said, Rick, get out of the nostalgia mode. Look at it this way. Big State Drug was gone. It was closed down. It was out of business. It was fading away into history. And Rick and Susan Fairless jumped up and said, we'll buy it. We'll redo it. We'll keep the history going. And you did, Rick. He said, now, you're 64 years old. Pass the torch to David Cole or somebody, and let them carry on the tradition. You saved it. You're part of the history of it. So pass it on if you think this is the right guy. And my wife and I talked about it, and he is the right guy. David Cole is a great He's a great restaurant guy. He's a great business guy. But the main reason we sold it to him is because he is a great Irving, Texas guy, and he's a good man. So we decided to do the deal, and we worked out a contract, and it took 6 months. It took 6 months to get the deal worked out on both ends, and we did. And so, effective December the 4th, 2020, he took over Big State, and we didn't make any big announcements or anything because we didn't think the time was right. But I think it's okay now because everybody knows, and I'm still part of Big State. You know, I'm part of the history, just like the people before me are part of the history. They'll always be a part of it. You know, so my wife and I, we haven't been in there since we sold it, but we plan to. We want to. We want to go in there. We're welcome there, and we're gonna keep eating there. You know, and whatever we can do to help David Cole and his staff out, we'd love to. So that's the deal with Big State. Is it's not so much that I sold it, in that my wife and I have passed the torch on to David Cole. So we're happy about it, and he's happy about it. So that's the story on Big State. You know, just recently, December 31st, Captain Nemo's sub shop, Submarine Sandwiches, closed down in Irving. Well, the Millers, Bill Miller and his wife Lynn, that own that, they want to retire. And they've tried selling it, and they haven't had any success yet, although I think they're still trying, and I think they've got some interested parties. But it's a victim of the COVID thing. Support your local mom and pop places. You know, I mean, it's vital. If you want them there, if you don't want them to go away, support them, show them some love. And if you're afraid to get out of the house, which you have every right to have that fear, maybe buy something from them online, or have some food delivered, or pick up at the curb or something. Okay, we're in Grand Prairie, as the water tower tells me now. The Prairie, that's grand. My brother and his wife, Sherlo, used to live over here. It's green, you can go. Better go before Julio runs over you now. So I stayed with them for a while back in the late 70s, the early 80s, when I was manager of the Roach Paint store. I stayed over here with them for a while. I had a Cameo pickup truck, I had a Trans Am, and a 82 Shovelhead. Well, I sold the Cameo, wish I still had it. Sold that 76 Trans Am, but I got a 79 now. And I still got the 82 Shovelhead. So whenever I come through Grand Prairie down here, it reminds me of them and staying over there for a few months. Life was simple back then. What about riding with ape hangers? Y'all like riding with apes? I like apes. Drag bars are okay, you know, they're low, they're more down there, but I like ape hangers. Ape hangers give you a little attitude. Not that I need any more attitude. So years ago, there was a Lion Country Safari through here. So you could drive through your car and you'd see all the wild animals. And before that, there used to be the go-kart rides. So the go-kart rides, there was nothing out here. All of this was just country. And the go-kart rides was just a big round oval track, and his guys had these old beat up go-karts, and I forget what it was, $3 or something. So this was back when we'd get all liquored up at like 16 or 17. You had to be 18 to drink, but we had connections. We'd get liquored up, we'd get on our little Hondas and Yamahas, and we'd go, especially after the rain, let's go the go-kart rides. Don't they close when it rains? Yeah, but if we got money, he'll open it up. And he did. So we'd get out there and we'd ride them go-karts in the mud. Look how pretty this bike looks on the shadow. Peace. You know, part of me wishes Irving was still in the country. You know, when Dallas was much smaller, but I make my living off of retail and people coming in, so I guess I better rethink that one, huh? They built this fancy bridge a few years ago. So at the other end of Hunter Farrell down here is a dump. I don't mean a furniture store either, I mean a dump. So my mom used to live in this trailer park there years ago. I think between me and my mom, we've lived in every little part of Irving. You notice I think about my mom a lot. Can't help it. I'm a mama's boy, and I ain't kidding either, I am. Hey, look. Ostriches or something out there. No, those are those emus or igloos. Not an igloo. Something. Llamas, maybe. Maybe it's a llama. What about Tony Llama? I used to love some Tony Llama boots. Hold on, boys. I'm 64, but I feel like 74. I'll show you where we lived when I was born. Right there. I was born, my mom was 16, 17. There was only one row of these, this one right there, and we lived in one of these. I'm not sure which one, but I was born right here. That's where we lived when I was born. Isn't that crazy? Rick Fairless Factoid. What's the address? 1700 South Nurseries, where we lived when I was born. 11 months later, when my brother was born, we lived over on Greenview. I'm not much on highways. Actually, but I ain't going down the highway. I'll go this way. So my dad first went into business, opened his own welding shop. He was here in this Browns Industrial Park. He was down in the back of it right here. And he did really good. He did really good. See, so they're going to make a park out of all that. I know they are, because they've been talking about it for 60 years. I don't think it'll be in my lifetime, but maybe in Rocky and Pearl's lifetime. Just pull out there, I'll run over you. Oh, sorry. That was a young Rick Fairless. I put this thing into high gear. No, not that high, ain't going that fast. That's the thing about these custom bikes that we build there at Strokers. They run, man. They run. You know, when Josh and I were outside filming me leaving, there was a guy sitting there and he said, "You actually ride them things?" Yes. All of my bikes are plugged in. I have to know that I can get on them at any time and go for a ride. You know, if it's just art, that's okay. That's all right. It's not for me, but it's okay. You know, my stuff has to look cool and neat, but it has to be... Yeah, that's a bad railroad track. I'm going to sue the city. It has to be... What is all that mess? It has to be functional art. So I like beautiful things like our Texas-owned Janis Joplin. But it has to function. You know, that doesn't mean I'm going to ride the Janis Joplin bike. You know, her nickname was Pearl. That's my granddaughter's name. But my granddaughter's name is Pearl. Her nickname is Curly. If we build a bike, and we're a team, we are a team. I'm not doing nothing by myself. I have a very talented team working with me every day. I've had a few heads, but I get rid of them or they weed themselves out. That's the thing about owning your own business. You know, you got to hire 10 employees to get one good one. And when I tell some of those other ones, you know, they get mad or they want more money or I didn't give them a hug or, you know, I just tell them, you know, if you're not happy, move on. You know, life is too short not to be happy. You want people to be happy at what they do. You know, so the people that I have working for me, they're awesome. You know, but some of them come and go, and that's just part of life, I guess. I guess the ones that leave, they're looking for something, and I hope they find it. They won't. They won't. I used to be at Roach Paint, and they'd tell me they were leaving. I'd say, where you going, the Perfect Paint Company? Because I ain't seen it out there. There is no perfect job. Maybe if you're a Playboy photographer, that ain't a perfect job either. Guess what? He gets bad days too. So I don't care who you are or where you work, there is no perfect job. Mine's pretty close. My job is heaven to me. But there's good days and bad days. During the COVID, which is still, the COVID's bigger now than it ever was. But we were closed, was miserable. Or if I have to fire somebody, that's miserable. Or if I have to have a talk with somebody because maybe they don't take a bath, or, you know, maybe their language is kind of rough. I don't know, you know. I want everybody to be happy. This is Regal Road. It sucks. Can you tell? Why'd you drive down it, you dumb? Because I'm stupid. That's what I was telling you. I ain't got all the answers. I mentioned I was 64 on a hardtail. I should know better than come down Regal Road, but I was having this long, nice talk with y'all, and I forgot. But yeah, I mean, wherever you work, be happy. Do something you want to do. Maybe you don't make as much money as you think you should. Okay, well, you know, the boss probably don't make as much money as he thinks he should either. You know, so don't just think about yourself. You know, in a small business, we all have to pitch in together. Whether it's cleaning the bathrooms or mopping. I had Rodney at the bar the last 3 days, being a bar back, sweeping and mopping and dumping trash and cleaning the bathrooms. I cleaned the bathrooms 2 days ago at Strokers because that's all I had. You know, we got people out. So I'm not too proud to pick up trash. I do it every day, including this morning. So pick something you love to do and try to get a job doing it. You'll never work a day in your life. Yeah, you might not make all the money you want to make, but none of us do. Okay, that's enough of that stuff. That's getting deep, Jack. There's my favorite little empire on the planet. Right, right, left, right, left. And here we are. See how he has his ape hangers pulled back? That's one way of doing it. They pull them back to be kind of in line with the front end. I don't like mine like that. I like mine pushed forward. This one actually could go a little more forward. Okay. See my pink shoes? Breast cancer awareness. Hey y'all, Rick Farrell of Strugglers Dallas. Did you enjoy the ride on the chopper as much as I did? Oh, it was awesome. Listen, here's what I want you to do. The circle over here on the left is a subscribe button, and over here on the right you got 2 squares. One of them is the next video. The next one is a playlist. Check out my videos. Bye.